Welcome to another Gran Turismo Sport tutorial. Today we're featuring Ford Mustang Mach 1s around Mount Panorama or Bathurst. And this isn't my best car and track combination. Anything involving a Ford would make it not the best combination, and anything involving Bathurst would make it not the best combination either. For me at least. But, well, despite that, I was still able to get top in the world. So, I'll show y'all how I did it. And I hope y'all enjoy, because this is actually the first time ever that I managed to get first in the world. So anyway, run up to the best lap. It's do it pretty much as you would expect. Just go on the inside line as much as possible without hitting the rumble strip, because that is a raised rumble strip there. As I mentioned, the videos don't hit the raised rumble strips very hard. That way it carries your car all the way to the outside there, and you can carry all the momentum possible to the line. It's different for your best lap, but I will show it when it comes to that. For now, just once you're to the line, it's pretty simple, just the front straightaway bit. Stay on the throttle as long as possible, and then for turn 1, angle your car to where it's on to the left side wall. Go in full throttle, make sure you don't actually make the turn, plow into the next wall, and then you get a penalty as well. So that adds to your ability to get top of the world. Next, start drifting, because that way you can stay fully on the throttle. So therefore the penalty doesn't go away, but yet it covers more ground. If possible, try to wreck into stuff where you're drifting as well, and you may as well go ahead and try to take that jump, because taking the jump is cool. Annoyingly, Mustangs are slow and terrible, so you can't actually get any... You can't go up in the air any on the jump, but nonetheless, you can still drift, kinda, sorta. And I'm on a controller with this, so that actually makes drifting easier somewhat. The general consensus is a controller is better for drifting, and wheels better for making the fastest lap possible. But, well, I got top in the world with a controller, so... take that as you may. Anyway, continuing on here, the penalty will go up as you hit more walls. And that's a good thing. And again, try to stay as full throttle as possible. It actually isn't too hard on this track. That's why I was able to get top in the world on this track in particular, because it's pretty easy to hit walls and stay full throttle. You can wall ride on this track better than pretty much any other real world circuit. There's stuff out there like the Tokyo Expressways where it may be easier, but for real world circuits, this is about as good as you're going to get for getting top in the world. Anyway, continuing on, as you can see, that last turn cut it a bit because that's a penalty. For this turn, you want to continue drifting to the point of it gets you sideways to almost go in the grass there, but you actually don't want to go in the grass because then it will reset you and thus the penalty goes down. What you do want to do here is, instead of actually going all the way to the wall there and riding on the wall, you just want to smash into the wall, so that way you can stay full throttle but yet lose more speed. And then when you do that, it's pretty much an inevitable reset. But from what I've tested out, it's actually faster doing it that way. And I actually got lucky this run too, because I avoided the reset. I think where it was downhill, I actually had enough momentum going where it didn't reset me. So if you get lucky there, that can get you a few more seconds as well. Also, good things that you want to do is when you have those walls sectioned in a way where it's kind of it tapers off at the end and there's like a clear ending that's a part that sticks out. You want to try to hit the part that sticks out, because then you spin out but still are moving, so therefore it doesn't reset you. On the back straight here, continue to drift. Again, stay full throttle so the penalty doesn't delete. As long as you do that, that will definitely help. Coming up here is an important section, so this is a good part to catch your breath. For this next section, you do want to cut the track on the inside here. Make sure you get completely on the gravel and not on the grass. That way you slow down as much as possible, and then once you get back on the road, you will naturally spin out. That is an inevitable reset as well, but it's worth it actually. And continue on there. Pretty much any part that's a straight, you just want to drift and continue drifting, because that's just a good protocol I have in general, because it uses up more track. And continue drifting for a while. Do go cut the track for a minute there. You do actually want to get on the grass at that part because that will spin you more to the other side, and this is also reset as well. But here, this is one of the more important parts of the track. This reset is actually a good thing because that way you're going ahead and being slow so you can make the U-turn to go back on yourself. Because in GT6, if you did this, the lap would be invalid, but I'm pretty sure the lap would be invalid anyway. But in GT Sport, you can actually go backwards, which can help get a top time be more fun. Instead of just having to go at like 2 miles an hour the whole track, you can just run the track back the other way. And then pretty much do the same stuff. There will be some resetting along the way, more going backwards than forwards, because it doesn't actually really want you going backwards. So you kind of have to time it in a way in which you have a lot of momentum going when you're on the track. If you pick up momentum while on the track and not in the grass or something, you're generally good for it not to reset. It's pretty much just a practice makes perfect thing there. And then continue on, kind of as I said before, just drift along the straightaways. Simple as that. This bit is, again, it's back to an easier part of the track, catch your breath, because the next bit, that will actually is the opposite, where, like I said, it's good to hit the part that actually sticks out. This is a bit where maybe it's not the best to actually hit it, because then you lose all of your speed and you might reset. Here, because the wall would make you slow down, it's probably better to just go ahead and scrape along the bigger wall and not hit the part that sticks out. Generally, when you want to hit the part that sticks out, it's when it sticks out in a way that's forward to your car and not directly head on to your car. So if it's facing the same way your car is, it generally will not reset you, but if it's like your front end directly hits it, then it will. Anyway, continue with the drifting. Eventually you will wreck around here because it's a Mustang. They're not the easiest to drive in general, and this is a relatively narrow part of the track. But honestly, at this point, if it resets you, it's probably going to be okay to go ahead and start going back to the main part of the track, because honestly, I don't think any other people are going to be this motivated to get first in the world. And if they are, I commend them. I mean, there's infinite time you can get there. There's always more time. It's always worth practicing more. But for me, at least, that seemed worthy of enough to go ahead and start heading back to the line. And also, as usual, the more you hit stuff, the more you cut the track, the penalty actually increases. And from what I've noticed, the penalty increasing is random. Some people say it's when it happens at 5 seconds, but I mean, y'all said here, it's different in different circumstances. But once you get it to whatever this point is minus a bit, it will increase. So then you just stay full throttle and the penalty increases for you. You don't even have to cut the track. What's weird is it seems like I actually start cutting the track when the penalty increases above 2 minutes. It doesn't actually seem to give more of a penalty. It seems to just quit calculating at that point. But in a way, it's also sort of kind of good to cut the track as long as you do it in a way that's beneficial in the sense of it slows you down, which is easy enough to do because you can just spin your car out and do things like that. It's also fun to go in this section back here too, because in GT6, that bit, once I turn around here, y'all can see it. Wait for it, well, reset me, I guess we'll just go back. That's an annoying thing too, is sometimes it'll get reset and there's really no control over it. That bit right there in GT6 was actually an Easter egg. That's where they put the blue tires that you could hit to get a trophy. I wanted to go ahead and investigate that anyway for GT Sport. It's not there. So that's a good thing to go see for yourself as well, to see the difference between GT6 and GT Sport. And it helps your time anyway, so you might as well go ahead and investigate that. That's just something I noticed along the way. And anyway, going on to the last straight, as I said, you run up to your best lap, you want to be as precise as possible because then you carry more speed into that first wall. But this time around, it's the complete opposite. One thing that I noticed here too is if you get it angled correctly, you can just stay full throttle on that wall too, and then you're not moving. So then the penalty will still go up when you're not moving. You will get reset, so the penalty will go down a slight bit, but overall it's worth it because you're not moving. for all that amount of time, and for the very slight bit of time that the penalty goes down, it's still an overall net gain. Anyway, to continue on, this is getting near the end here, but a goal that I wanted to have is 10 minutes is a kind of a round time that people may aim for. That's all fine and dandy. So I figured I'd go ahead and go to 11 minutes, because maybe that's not as common, but then I figured I'm going for first in the world. I don't want someone to have the same mindset as me, because this is a one-time shot. Of course, you can restart right before you get to the line if you don't think it's good enough. But once you pass the line, your best lap is your best lap. You want to get that best lap as worst as possible, because it only takes your best time. It doesn't do anything with worse stuff that you may get later. So I figured I'd go ahead and get it to where it's more than 11 minutes by a good bit. So that way people who see the 10 minute as being kind of a generic average that people might shoot for, so to go for a minute more. That way I go ahead and beat them as well, just to be sure I get first in the world. And as you can see here, just do the same strategy. It works on this as good as it has the rest of the track. Just continue weaving around, drifting and all that. And then once you're to the line, as you can see there, once I get to it, this is the time that I was able to get. It is a 11:12.377. Again, there's more time out there. It is possible to do better. But as of when I finished this event, I was indeedy dandy first in the world. I was the slowest driver in the world. But somehow someone was actually even more motivated than me and then beat that. I think they even beat it by like 2 minutes. So April Fools, I'm not the fastest to be slowest. I tried. I wanted to be the fastest at being slowest. I was first in the world for a little while, but someone actually still beat me to it. This is the April Fool's joke. I'm not first in the world. The rest is completely irrelevant. If you want to be first in the world, do exactly as I say here. Of course, you're first at being last, but that's still first at something, ain't it? You're fastest at being slowest, but I actually wasn't here. Again, to gain more time is just continue going backwards in the track for longer. You may get reset pointed forwards, but just practice enough and you will end up going back again. Even though you do lose penalty time every time you hit reset, it's kinda still worth it to go backwards, because in the grand scheme of things, if you lose half a second every time you try to go backwards, and then it takes 5 times for you to do it, you may have lost 2.5 seconds of your penalty. But as long as you go backwards for more than 2.5 seconds, it equals out. So, yeah, I misjudged it. Somebody ended up beating me at the end. I'm sorry it was a clickbaity title, because really I was actually second in the world, but it's also April Fool's Day, so, I mean, whatever. The process is still true, it's just my execution of the process was about 2 minutes off. So I hope you all enjoyed this. It may take me a year, but I'm going to try to get first in the world. I know how to do it now, I just need to get my execution better. It may even be a year from now, but I have a hunch that I will be able to get first in the world. And that is most definitely worth a yeehaw.